Long before humans ever stepped into the sky, people dreamed of flying like birds. For thousands of years, ancient civilizations studied the wind, the clouds, and the movement of birds. Some of the earliest ideas about flight came from ancient China, where kites were invented more than 2,000 years ago. These kites were not used for fun alone. They were used for experiments, signaling, and even military purposes. By watching how kites moved in the air, early thinkers learned the first lessons about lift and aerodynamics. In ancient Greece, around 400 BC, a thinker named Archytas built a wooden bird called the pigeon, which could fly using steam. Although it wasn't a real airplane, it proved one important idea. Machines could move through the air. Centuries later, the famous inventor Leonardo da Vinci studied birds and designed early flying machines. He drew designs of gliders, helicopters, and parachutes, but his inventions were never built during his lifetime. Still, his drawings inspired future scientists for generations. By the 1700s, hot air balloons became the first successful human-carrying flying machines. In 1783, the Montgolfier brothers from France launched the first manned balloon flight. This showed the world that humans could rise into the sky. But balloons could only float, they could not be controlled, and they could not fly forward on their own. The real dream remained, a machine that could fly forward, stay balanced, and carry people. In the 1800s, researchers like Sir George Cayley from England began to study flight scientifically. Cayley is often called the father of aerodynamics. He discovered the four forces of flight: lift, weight, thrust, and drag. This was a breakthrough. For the first time in history, humans understood why things could fly. Cayley even built successful gliders, proving that fixed-wing aircraft were possible. After Cayley, many inventors around the world continued experimenting. People like Otto Lilienthal from Germany focused on gliders and studied the motion of wings. Lilienthal made over 2,000 successful glider flights. His work provided real data about wing shape and stability. Sadly, he died in 1896 after a glider crash, but he inspired the next generation. At this point in history, the world understood gliding. But one major question still remained. How can we build a flying machine that has an engine, can take off on its own, and can stay in the air safely? This question led to one of the greatest inventions in human history. An invention that would change travel, business, war, and the entire world forever. This invention was the aeroplane. And the people who finally solved the puzzle were two brothers from America. Their names were Orville Wright and Wilbur Wright. They took everything learned from centuries of experiments, from kites, gliders, and scientific research, and pushed it to the next level. They studied how wings should curve. They studied how to control balance in the air. They studied how to build a light but powerful engine. And their hard work would soon lead to the world's first ever successful airplane. And how this single event changed history. This is the beginning. The story of how humans conquered the sky. The world had learned about kites, gliders, and balloon flights. But one thing was still missing, a machine that could fly on its own with an engine. This challenge was solved by two American brothers, Orville Wright and Wilbur Wright. They were not scientists. They were bicycle makers from Dayton, Ohio, United States. But they had one powerful advantage: they studied every detail of flight with deep passion. They tested wing shapes, angles, and balance using their own homemade wind tunnel. The first controlled powered airplane. After years of experiments, the Wright brothers built a new machine in 1903. This machine was called the Wright Flyer, also known as Flyer I. It was the first aircraft in history that had a working engine, controlled steering, and could fly with a pilot. The Wright Flyer was made of wood, cloth, and wire, but it was a masterpiece of engineering. They traveled to a windy location called Kitty Hawk in North Carolina, United States. The first flight in human history. On December 17, 1903, the world changed forever. Orville Wright climbed into the Wright Flyer for the first test flight. At exactly 10:35 a.m., the plane lifted off the ground. It flew for 12 seconds and covered 120 feet, 36 meters. This was small, but it was the first controlled, powered, sustained flight in human history. The exact details for researchers. Name of the first aeroplane, Wright Flyer, Flyer I. Inventors, Orville and Wilbur Wright. Country, United States of America. City of invention, Dayton, Ohio. City of first flight, Kitty Hawk. Date of first flight, December 17, 1903. Pilot of the first flight, Orville Wright. Every history book agrees on these facts. How flight advanced. After the first flight, the Wright brothers improved their designs. By 1905, their third plane, the Wright Flyer III, could fly for over 30 minutes. Other inventors around the world began to build their own airplanes. In 1909, the first military aircraft was sold. By 1914, aircraft were used in World War I. This pushed airplane technology forward faster than ever before. The global transformation. In the 1920s and 1930s, airplanes became stronger, faster, and safer. In 1927, Charles Lindbergh flew across the Atlantic Ocean alone in a plane called the Spirit of St. Louis. By the 1950s, jet engines made planes even faster, leading to modern air travel. Today, planes can fly from continent to continent, carry hundreds of people, and connect the entire world. From the Wright Flyer to today's jets, the dream of flight has grown beyond imagination. The final message. The history of the aeroplane is the story of human curiosity, courage, and determination. From ancient kites, to gliders, to steam-powered ideas, to the Wright brothers. Every step led us to the machines we fly in today. And it all officially began on one windy morning in Kitty Hawk, 1903. The moment the Wright Flyer left the ground, the sky was no longer a dream. It became a reality. This is the complete history of the aeroplane. From its ancient origin, to the very first flight, to the modern world. The story ends here, but the journey of aviation continues.